Hi friends, today I'm sharing my top tips to make professional looking jeans at home, from fabric choices to seam finishes, top stitching, and all the small details that really make a difference. I'm going to be testing out a new jeans pattern, so this felt like the perfect opportunity to share everything I've learned with working with denim over the years. This isn't a step-by-step tutorial, but as I sew, I'll be dropping all the denim knowledge along the way. So if you want your homemade jeans to look a little more store-bought, I hope this video helps. After experimenting with different types of denim, I learned that the heavier the denim, the more professional looking the end results will look. So I personally like a 10 ounce or more. I've experimented, and these pair I made with a 9 ounce denim and they look great, but I kind of wish I went with a heavier weighted denim. If your pants were gathered at the waist or has a lot of pleats and things like that, I think a 9 ounce denim would work, but this pair is more structured looking. I just kind of wish I went thicker, and plus the top stitching holds well on a thicker denim. This pair was good. I just wish I kind of went thicker on this one. The ones I make for my shop, I use a 13.75 ounces, and that holds a top stitch really well. This is the first pair I've ever made in that denim. As you can see, it's super broken in. It's well loved. It's a few years old, super faded at this point, but it's held up well construction wise. I'll show you a newer pair. This is a newer pair I made, and I just experimented with different color on the top stitching, but this one holds really well. I love the feel of it. Eventually it'll get that buttery soft vintage feel that everyone loves. I like working with heavier denim. And then the ones I'm gonna make today, I'm gonna be working with a 10.5 ounce selvage denim, and this one's really nice to work with. I've made jeans with this before. It holds a stitch very well, so I'm gonna be using this one for the jeans today. And for content wise, I always use 100% cotton, no stretch. We want these jeans to last and become to that vintage age and broken in nicely, so I don't recommend working with a mixed synthetic blend. I love 100% cotton. I love natural fibers. In all the denim here, I bought dead stock locally at this place called Premium Denim Outlet. It's open to the public. You don't need a wholesale license, and you could buy low yardage and not just a roll. Just keep in mind there is a cutting and processing fee. I'll put all their information in the description below. For sewing your jeans at home, most likely you're gonna pre-wash your denim to get all that shrinkage out, as opposed to something bought in the store, or for example, the ones I made for my small handmade business. I made my jeans first and then washed afterwards, and that kind of shrunk it to size. But I figured out my shrinkage for this specific style and that specific denim I use. You could figure it out on your own if you wanted by taking your fabric you're gonna use for the jeans, measure a 20 by 20 inch square, and then wash it and then remeasure it to see how much it shrunk, and then recalculate your pattern that way. But most likely you bought a pattern that already fits you really well. Don't even bother, just wash your jeans, make sure to dry it as well so it's the final size. It's not going to shrink more. I already did that to my denim here. I'm just going to iron it out, and then I'll cut it out next. So cutting on grain line is a no-brainer, of course, but I really do want to emphasize to pay attention to the grain line of the denim and the grain line of the pattern piece here, and make sure it really does line up, just because in the end you don't want the leg to look twisted or draped weird. So I really do pay attention to the grain line for cutting out some jeans. I also use heavy duty industrial pattern waste just to make sure my pattern is not moving around while cutting. I don't like to use pins with denim just because I want my pattern to just lay as flat as possible to get the most accurate cut for my fitted jeans. And then I also only cut on a single layer. Again, it's just for accuracy. I don't want things when it's folded to like add any excess fabric. So single layer for denim is super nice to cut with just a sharp pair of scissors. The the denim doesn't really move as much, so I get away with just scissors for these. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Paying attention to the grain line of the denim and the pattern, using heavy duty weights to weigh it down, and just making sure that it's on a single layer of denim, and then you'll be on your way to some good looking jeans. Before we get to sewing, I do want to touch base on the sewing supplies and hardware to make jeans at home. So the first thing you want to do is switch out your needle to a thicker needle size. I like to use a size 16 or 18 to sew with for denim. Mostly I use the size 16 on all the denim I've sewn in the past. From 10 ounce to 13 ounce, it sews just fine. But you just want to experiment on a scrap piece of fabric for your jeans. Just test out either size and choose one that works for you. And next up is the thread. I think the main construction thread for me that works the best is Tex 40. This one's super strong and reliable. I know my seams won't fall apart with this. So this one, I definitely recommend a Tex 40. But if you can't find it, most stores, they carry your all-purpose thread at size Tex 30, I believe. This one works fine. I just make sure to invest more in the top stitching thread, but you could get away with a size 30. But if I were to choose, I would definitely choose the Tex 40. Next up, and I think the most important, is the top stitching thread. If you were to invest in one thing, it's the top stitching thread. This is really gonna add that professional element to your jeans. And I use a Tex 60 for my denim, and I really like the colors, these classic colors. I think you could get away with a Tex 50, but I haven't really experimented with a 50, but I like the 60, and it's been reliable not only because it's strong, but it adds that kind of decorative element that kind of gives it that classic jean look. So if you were to pick one, I would definitely go with the 60 in these kind of classic colorways. Next up is the zipper. I always like to use YKK zippers for my jeans. They're just super reliable and strong, and I like going with the metal locking zipper. This one is 7 inches long with the brass teeth and the blue tape. I've never had an issue with this. They're super strong and reliable. If you could find them in the wild, I like to pick up these Talon zippers too. This one's a metal locking zipper as well, and they just don't produce these anymore, but they are super strong and reliable, and I like to see them in clothing still, so I'll pick them up once in a while. But this one's not the correct size, so I'm not going to use it on mine, but just if you see them, I would definitely pick them up. Last but not least are the buttons. I like to use a classic jean metal button. This one is in that nice brassy colorway that I like, and it's metal. It's been sturdy and strong. I've never had an issue with it. Make sure it's metal. I've seen some plastic ones out there, which is kind of strange to me. I like to pick these up. And then the bonus points for people that want rivets on their jeans. I haven't worked with rivets much. You could look up a tutorial for that. I'm not going to use it on the jeans I'm making right now, but that definitely adds that kind of classic store-bought look if you're looking for that. Now we're at my favorite stage, the sewing stage, and before I get going, I always like to test out my stitch length, especially with all this top stitching. I do want to make it consistent. So I like, in general, a 9 stitches per inch. I just basically tested it out on the denim itself and measured it, make sure it looks good. This one's nice because it's not too wide and not too narrow. It's still really strong. So I like the look of 9 stitches per inch, but you test it out and see what looks good on your pair of jeans. Next up is the sewing, and I think the most important part with the sewing portion is the sequence of construction. This will just minimize bulk and just making sure you hit all the top stitching at the correct time. So generally speaking, I do start with the zipper first. I insert the zipper, and then I hit any darts if it's in the way of any pockets. So I have a couple darts, so I'm gonna sew that in. And then any pockets, so I have 2 patch pockets in the back, 2 front pockets, and a coin pocket, hence the 5 pocket jeans. And then I do the inseam, crotch seam, top stitch all those, the side seams, putting the front and back together, and then the waistband, belt loops, and then the hem at the bottom. I will get my other machine out and do the buttonhole and then the button itself. So that's generally speaking the order I go in, and maybe I might do the hem after the buttonhole, but generally speaking in that order. So let's get to sewing. Hopefully I'll speed up this process and just kind of show you little snippets of it as I sew along. Before I insert the zipper, I do some prep work by overlocking the zipper guard, zipper facing, and the front crotch. Now I switch to a zipper foot to insert the zipper. Then I change the thread to the top stitching thread to edge stitch, and for the J stitch, I draw it on with an erasable pen. This makes it super easy to top stitch. I also tie all the top stitching thread to the inside so it looks neat from the outside. Usually there is a bar tack somewhere on the curve part, but since I don't have one, I just sew the facing and the guard together in the inside so they are attached that way. Then I proceeded to add the back darts in and the back patch pockets. So to speed things up, I went ahead and inserted all the pockets. I kind of did this kind of double needle style top stitching for the pockets to add strength and also like a decorative element, I guess. Usually you would put like bar tacking here, but I don't have a bar tack machine, so I kind of went with this double needle style. Even though I don't have a double needle, I just literally kind of edge stitch and drew on that line just to make everything like perfect looking. I did that. I also mimicked that same style in the front pockets here. Also the little coin pocket I finished. Now I'm just off to the rest of the body. I went ahead and also prepped the waistband just so it's easy to insert, and then the belt loops too, because I don't want to spend forever on these jeans. I'm just gonna go ahead and finish the rest of the pant leg, do a little quick try on, and then move on to finishing these jeans. I also wanted to mention that I'm overlocking every seam that I sew. So I just did the inseam and I'm using just a 3-thread Juki overlock machine. In hindsight, I kind of wish I went with the 4-thread back in the day, but I've done fine with the 3. I've done all my projects with this overlock. So until this one breaks, I'll just live with this one. But if you were to buy one today, I would probably go with the 4-thread just because it adds that extra security, and you could always take that thread out if you don't want a 4-thread. So that's nice about the overlocks with more than 3 spools. You could just take one out and just have it be either like a 4-thread, or sometimes there's like that 5-thread as well. It just adds extra security over the edges, but I've gotten away with 3 for all my projects. So just do with that information as you will, but I'm just gonna overlock and then continue on the rest of the pants. So I wanted to try this on before I add the waistband, because right now I could make any fit changes, but I just tried it on and it feels really good. I'm actually really surprised, and it's fitting really good for the most part. Of course, I'm gonna add the waistband so it'll be a little bit more high-waisted than it is right now. And then of course I'll hem it, but it's feeling good. I can like bend down, it doesn't hurt. So yeah, I'm really happy about the fit so far. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add the waistband now. Waistband is finished, and next I just want to add all the belt loops. And I know when you buy jeans at the store, it's usually bar tacked down because they have that special machinery, but for at home I only have a single needle, so I'm gonna tack down all the loops with a single needle. To make it strong, what I do is I back every belt loop with a scrap piece of denim. So especially on the bottom portion here, this is my old jeans, especially on the bottom portion here, it's only a single layer of denim that is holding on to. So on a vintage pair of pants I saw, they backed it up with like a scrap piece of the main fabric, and I thought that was so clever. It's just a way to add thickness and just strength to tension on especially like a belt loop. So the top portion I think is fine because it's on the waistband with multiple layers. There's interfacing, so that top part is really strong. The bottom part is super weak because there's only a single layer on it. I back it with a scrap piece of denim, and then later on it'll wash down and kind of fray, but that's okay. It's all in the inside and it just adds that extra strength. Another thing I do to add that strength is that I kind of double layer the thread. I put it down with the navy thread first and then go over it with the top stitching thread. Initially I did that because I kept messing up the positioning of the belt loops, and I didn't want to waste the top stitching thread since that's one of a kind. I got it at an estate sale and I don't know where to get that color again. It's a very limited supply for me. I didn't want to keep wasting it. In the end, it actually adds a lot of strength to the belt loops. I've made this for my shop. I've never had a belt loop rip off on me. No one has ever complained. It's actually functional too, and I just like doing it that way. It's never failed me, and that's just kind of my workaround if you don't have a bar tack machine at home. I cut my loops 3 inches long and fold the raw edges under 3/8 of an inch. I like to draw straight lines for a guide, then I tack them down with the navy thread first. I also make sure to put a scrap piece of denim for the bottom of the loop. Then I switch to my top stitching thread. I like to use a scrap piece of denim folded a few times to use as a tool to even out the presser foot. This will allow even pressure from the foot. I do 3 passes back and forth. I always leave a tail so I could tie them off to the inside, then I trim the denim scrap to a smaller size. After hemming the jeans, I added the buttonhole with my other machine. Then used my industrial press with a jean button die set and added the finishing button in place. These jeans are the perfect staple I needed in my wardrobe. It's my take on the classic 5-pocket jeans. They are comfy and fit me perfectly. I hope this gave you inspiration on how to make your denim look more professional when sewing at home. For this pair, I used a straight stitch machine and a home overlock to achieve this finish. You could absolutely use techniques like flat fell seams, but I found that using a thicker thread combined with top stitching gives me strong, durable seams that have held up really well. In the industry, there are all kinds of specialized machines used to make jeans, and my goal here was to mimic those results as closely as possible using the equipment I have at home, and really wanted to show you can get professional results. When I get stopped and asked about my jeans, they are always shocked when I tell them they are all handmade. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments, and I also would love to hear from you if you have any tips working with denim. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. It really helps small creators like me get discovered. And until next time, I'll see you guys soon. Bye!